I didn't do today's show. I didn't open up with no video today because today we're doing an open discussion. I'm not introducing no new topic today. I got some heavy topics that I'm gonna get into over the next couple weeks, and I didn't want to start a new topic today. Um, I want to have an open discussion about some of the things we talked about over the last few episodes, and I wanted to have an open discussion about the Netflix show The Social Dilemma, right? Because this is something that's been brought to my attention by multiple people. They keep asking me, "Have I seen it? Have I seen it?" So last night I got around to watching it, and I found a lot of the information that the people in the documentary were sharing very interesting, right? And a lot of the stuff that they talked about are things that I've talked about here on the show, most notably the first two episodes where we talked about the concept of social engineering, right? And what is it? So we're going to go a little bit deeper today, and we're going to see um, if we could get a better understanding of what it is social engineering is, right? Because we just briefly touched on it on the surface, right? And after watching the documentary, right, um, they took it to the next level. They're showing you how technology is programming you to be a whole different individual from what you were, right? And you see this manifest a lot with a lot of our friends and family, people that we've known for all our lives, right? And we see how the emergence of social media, right, changes the way we interact with people that we've known on our life. My generation, we were the first generation to really experience life go from the analog age to the digital age, right? My childhood consisted of a lot of playing outside, right? A lot of hanging out with people, playing sports. It didn't involve a lot of internet. It didn't involve a lot of video gaming until we got older, and then we seen this transition happen, and then we realized that it wasn't really more about your friends weren't really the people that would knock on your door. It was more about people that supported your image, the image that you were trying to portray as an individual, right? We had things like MySpace and Black Planet, and these things came out, and it was all about creating an image, right? And you started to see the disconnect between people that you knew in real life and the image that they were portraying on the internet, on the screen. Um, why is that, right? Um, One of the things that is the major cause of that is the ability to record and film things live, right? Um, this is a situation where somebody that's craving attention can get instant attention at a push of a button, right? I want attention. I want everybody to see what I'm doing. I'm gonna hit live. Everybody's watching me right now, and for advertising purposes and for marketing purposes, it could have some positives, but the flip side of this is that people are not willing to deal with embarrassment, right? Because everything is being recorded. So those
Hey,
fist fights in the neighborhood that would take place, right, between a certain group of people, they're getting recorded now. And when somebody gets their ass whipped on the camera, I can assure you they're not going to take that ass whipping too lightly. And this is how people get shot, right? This is how things escalate. Um, Even with police brutality, right? Police brutality is nothing new. We talked about this on the show. How police brutality um, is something that's always been around as long as the police been around, right? But now with social media, is able to be recorded and uploaded instantly, right? Something happens, the police interaction happens, boom, we can record it. Now reaction and people's emotions are instantly invested into the event. Before the facts, the image of the event gets to the people before the facts of the events do, right? So people are already reacting before they even know why the person was killed or what happened, as to where in days past, right, we would get the information and then video will be released afterwards, after an idea of what happened was formed. So technology has its pros. It has a lot of things that is done positive for us, right? I'm using technology right now to share this message to you, right? I'm using technology to do a podcast and to communicate with everybody here. but I could also use this technology to do something negative if I chose to do it. If it wasn't my heart to be negative and use this, I could use this very same technology to lie to you and finesse you and convince you of things that are not real, right? Um, so this got a lot to do with the intentions that we have in our heart as individuals, right? Um, I don't have a lot of slides, and I'm not going to read to you today. What I want to try to do today is have an open discussion, right? Where the viewers, whoever's watching, y'all tap in, y'all chime in, and y'all what's the word I want to use? We build, right? It could be something about any type of current event that's happening right now. I would like to hear your opinions on how you feel about this the coronavirus, right? We've been dealing with this for 6 months. And I would like to hear some of y'all opinions about how you feel about what's going on, right? And we could look up. I got the computer right here. If there any information that you want to look up, we could look up. We could look it up right here. Um, for those of you that watched the Social Dilemma, right, and had the opportunity to watch it, how did you feel? Finding out all that information from the people that built these software, right? How do you feel knowing that a lot of this software that's on your Facebook is being used to finesse you, right? Because I know a lot of y'all don't like to be lied to, right? But yeah, every day we are being lied to. So let's really open up and see what it is that how does this make you feel as an individual, right? I know for me, I don't particularly like being lied to. I don't particularly like um my information being used for nefarious purposes. But at the same time, I have no control, right, over nothing else except what I share with the Facebook community, right? With my social media community. I that's the only thing that I can control. So by not posting a lot of pictures of my personal life and my home and my address and my credit card information and every single thing that I do every day, right? Um, I don't have to worry about that much of my life being exposed. A lot of people need every part of their life advertised for the social media, right? You got those people that I turned the lights on, I opened the refrigerator, I poured the cup,
I
I
cooked
put ice
dinner.
in the cup, the ice melted. Every aspect of their life is posted on social media, and then they feel like everybody's intruding in their life. There's an old axiom that says if you let somebody talk long enough, they'll tell you everything that you need to know,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So my question to the viewers is, I'm 38 years old. I don't deal with situations like fake friends, and I'm not taken by surprises of people that ain't shit no more because social media allows you to identify these people ahead of time, right? If you're on social media, the average person's on social media almost all day, right? You know who the people that are toxic, you know the people that are messy,
Yeah.
right?
I don't even expect anything from anyone anymore. Like, the less I expect, the less disappointment I have. Like,
Right, because expectations inevitably lead to disappointments, right? You and that's the thing with social media, right? We create expectations for people. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us on social media have a tendency to create personas or archetypes of um, shadow versions of ourselves or versions of ourselves that we want to be, right? So, we create that image and then we have to support that image. And once you start off with a lie, you have to continue to keep supporting the lie, right? If you give off the image to everybody that you're balling, everything that you do on social media has to support that image that you created for yourself, even though you might be sitting in the house dead broke. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Everything that you did has to support the image that you created, or it's gonna get exposed as being a false. That's why for those of us that are not living a false persona and just, we live in our lane, we don't have to worry about that, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm the same person on social media
yep.
that I am on the podcast that I am off. I sit home, I read books, I be home with my kids, I be home with my family. I like to kick it and like to do everything that I do at home. You know what I'm saying? If you see me in a bar, if you see me out and about, 9 times out of 10 it's somebody's birthday or it's a special occasion, and then I'm taking my ass right back home. Right? Because I spent a large majority of my life already in the streets. So at 38 years old, there's nothing for me to prove to nobody. You already know me or you don't know me, and I'm cool with that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here trying to convince you of anything. Um, you got a lot of people that haven't evolved to that level of maturity yet. You know what I'm saying? I always tell people, and especially men. You know what I'm saying? Because men, we have a tendency to do this more than women do. You know what I'm saying? Um, at some point we got to let the pride and the ego and a lot of the stuff that led us to make negative decisions in our lifestyle. We need to let that go. The super tough guy personas and all that. I mean, it probably worked when people in your 20s and your 30s, but I mean, at this point, people almost 40 years old, nobody cares anymore. You know what I'm saying? Nobody cares about any of that anymore. Um, if you still have to do it at 40 years old, that means nobody believed you the first 20 years, right? If you're still trying to convince somebody that you tough at 40 years old, right? Or you still got to convince people who you are at 40 years old, then nobody believed you the first 20 years when you was telling them. And nobody going to believe you now. So, this is something that we need to do as adults, especially my generation, man, because I feel like a lot of people in my generation, man, like we just don't really want to grow up. We want to stay, we want to live our best life. We want to, we caught that best year of our life and we want to stay there and we want to live there for 20 years. You know what I'm saying? And it's over with. Our job is to be adults. We got children we need to raise, right? Or not. And even if we don't have children, we have a younger generation that's looking up to us for some type of guidance, for some type of, blueprint of how to make it through this life that we managed to survive so far. You know what I'm saying? Um, social media changed a lot. The respect that I have for a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people that I didn't know they was racist until 2020.
Right.
Right? I was like, damn, I didn't know this person was racist until 2020. It was a surprise to me, right? Because it's a situation where you know these people, right? And you go, you know these people all your life, and you never really had those conversations when you sitting on the block and you smoking, you drinking the beer. You're not really having political conversations. You talking about, you know, other things, right? But then all of a sudden, people grow up and they get they meet new friends and whatever career path they chose and whatever they do for education, and they start to take on these ideas, right, that are not necessarily their own. And you start, I know people that I used to break bread with on the food stamp side that, you know what I'm saying, be downing people on food stamps now, like damn,
It's
bro, like
like you had it too,
I
bro.
gave you, when I broke the $5 the book, I gave you some of this so you can eat too. And then it was like, now all of a sudden, yeah, we shouldn't stay there. We shouldn't stay in that level of existence. But I mean, you don't never know what the next person is going through.
Right.
That's one thing I try to
Gotta
attend and
remember.
that I always try to live as a person. I don't know what the next person is going
They
through,
gotta
so I try
remember
to be
what they going
kind.
through. Yeah,
You
for
know.
sure.
So let me look in the chat and see what we got going on. So a lot of people feel that the coronavirus was a hyped up flu. You know what I'm saying? Um, I feel even deeper than that. I feel like the coronavirus is a psychological operation. And I've been on the record since day one, since it came out. You know what I'm saying? I caught a little bit of flack about it. You know what I'm saying? But I haven't wavered from my position, not once. You know what I'm saying? I always felt that this coronavirus is, so we're gonna have another event in 2040. Because this event happens every 20 years, right? This is when we get into a call and I teach y'all about astrology and how the occult operate, all this shit is gonna make sense to y'all because y'all gonna start to understand the patterns and symbology and astrology and how the people at the very top, right? They this is what they do. You know what I'm saying? They like to play games. And they like to play games using our emotions. So the last time we had something like this happen on a grand scale was 9/11, right? And 9/11 was a psychological operation. Yes, 2,300 and something people died. Okay, but that doesn't mean that it wasn't. That was the point of the psychological operation, was to instill fear into our collective conscious, right? To give you the idea that terrorism can touch you anywhere, right? um a lot of people that research 9/11, right, they know what really happened. They know the people that were responsible, so there's no need for me to be redundant, right, and sit there and get deep down into 9/11, because most of the people that know what happened on 9/11, right, um understand that it was a psychological operation. So fast forward 20 years later, we're having another psychological operation, right? Um, we have this COVID, right? Now I talked about how I talked about in an earlier episode on alternative medicine how germ theory, right, is a fabrication of a man named Louis Pasteur, right? And this was debated in medical circles for hundreds of years until a guy named Robert Koch came and he supposedly put an end to the debate, right? But there was never no end put to the debate. Okay. First of all, a virus is not even alive. It's not a live entity. It's dead. In order for a virus to replicate itself, it has to attach itself to a cell host, right? And it's basically a parasite. That's what a virus is a parasite. It needs to live off something else in order to replicate. Bacteria doesn't. Bacteria is a live organism, right? So most of the times when we're getting sick, it's from live organisms like bacteria. Bacteria um, that already exist in our mouth, in our hands, in the world, naturally, right? So when these bacteria interact with the elements in our body that make up our what's the word that I'm looking, help me out here, Paul.
The elements in our body that make up our composition,
No. The word that I'm looking for
our
is
DNA,
the thing that defends our body system.
our immune
Our
system.
immune system. Yeah, that was on the tip of my tongue and I couldn't get it out. But yeah, our immune system, right? Basically, the immune system operates on these things called exosomes. And exosomes, when they get infected with bacteria or any type of oxalotoxins, they let out like a mucus secretion. It's like mucus. And these mucus is what forms tumors, right? This mucus is what forms these diseases in our body. So what our body wants to do is get it out, right? How does it want to get it out? Through mucus, right? Either we have coughing, phlegm, or we have running noses, sneezing, right? Or our body raises the temperature and we have a fever. But the fever is induced through our body. It's not through the external source. The fever is induced through our body because our body is trying to heat up whatever is inside our body to get it out. That's how it kills through heat, right? It's killing the bacteria through heat. You have to manage the fever though. You can't let the fever get to 104 or 105 because then you get too hot and then you get into seizures and convulsions.
Right.
But you manage the fever.
Right.
Right? A lot of us don't do that when we get sick. We suppress the symptoms, right? Because what we do is we don't like feeling discomfort. So we resort back to that human nature of instant gratification, right? Where we want to feel good right now, right? So what we do is we suppress our symptoms with cough syrup, right? Well, now you're not coughing the stuff out. You're just keeping it there.
Yeah.
So you can feel comfortable. That's why you wind up being sicker 5 or 6 days.
Right. Right.
I don't want to sneeze. I don't want to have a runny nose. When the first thing you're supposed to do is
Let it out.
let it out. Steam up the bathroom. You get that to where it's really soft and you get all of that out. You want to sweat, right? Because all of this is getting whatever is in your body out. But we don't do that because we relied on the experts so long to telling us they just want to sell a product. They don't care if you get healed. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to sell you a product. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They can make Dayquil and NyQuil. They can make, right? Remember for the longest time people had NyQuil and they was falling asleep, right? So they made Dayquil. So now you can take it during the daytime and you don't fall asleep. They don't lose no money over it. They know that we want to feel good. It's the same thing they were talking about in the documentary Social Dilemma, right? People want to feel good, right? You get a picture, you throw a picture, and you got dressed real fly, right? And a girl that you always like, and she likes your shit, and now you feeling good. You like, damn, she noticed me.
Yo, I still got it, yo.
She noticed me, right?
Right.
So now that little bit of dopamine comes out your brain. Now that little feeling of pride comes out, and you like that feeling. So now you start taking more pictures and you start doing more, right? Because you like that little feeling of attention,
That's
right?
the same
Attention
thing
is just like cocaine. Attention is just like cocaine, right? Because you get a little bit of it, then you want more. And then you want more and more and more. But it'll never be like that first impression that you made, right?
Right.
And now you always working to maintain that first impression, which is impossible, right? You was doing good that day, that moment in time.
Ain't
You
gonna
know
be
what I'm
doing
saying?
good every day.
That's
That's why
like
I
me
don't care.
taking from when I used to sell dope running around, right? And taking a picture from one of them days when I had a good day on the block, right? And using that picture.
Forever.
I'd forever have to live up to that image, right? If I use that to identify who I was as a person.
Hey, I don't care, man. I'll take a picture if I'm still scruffy.
You know what I'm saying? It's okay to be it's okay to be normal, man.
Right.
That's the point that I be trying to emphasize a lot. It's okay to be normal, man. You ain't gotta be the toughest dude in the world. You ain't gotta be the dude with all the money in the world. You know what I'm saying? Because no matter how much money you got, there's always somebody with more money than you. No matter how tough you are, there's always gonna be somebody tougher than you. Right? So you always gonna be in a position where you're gonna try to prove somebody that you better and better and better, and then ain't never gonna be enough. You know what I'm saying? Be happy with your gifts, your blessings. You know what I'm saying? What's the song J. Cole got? You know what I'm saying? Love Yours. Right? That's
Yeah.
one of my favorite songs because love your life. You know, I wasn't put here to live your life or anybody else's life. I was put here to be me. And that's all I know how to be is me, right? And this is why I always tell people, you know, be who you be. You ain't got to convince me that you anybody else other than who you are. You know what I'm saying? Don't wear no mask with me. That's why I hate masks, right? Because I feel like you hiding your face. You trying to convince me of something else. And again, I'm not talking about the mask that we wear. That's a different type of
The
mask, right?
definition of mask.
We're talking about metaphysical masks.
Yeah.
You know, trying to convince people that you're something. You know, let me ask y'all a question. I'm gonna ask this for the chat group. How well do you really know the people? Do you know? How well do you know them? You know what I'm saying? When it's their birthdays, right? How often do you even pop up and take them a gift? Like y'all talk about how people are your friends, right?
Right.
How often do you even pop up and spend time with these people and visit these people and call them and check up on them and be like, "Are you okay, man? How's your mental health going on?" Right? See, and this is the thing, man. Like, um, social media got us really thinking that everybody love us and everybody else our friend. You know what I'm saying? Because a like and is really different from a real friendship. And this is something that we need to emphasize. Just because somebody hits you with a thumbs up, you know what I'm saying? That don't necessarily mean they're your friend. That means that the information that you shared or the picture that you shared resonated with them. That's it. That's all it means. You know what I'm saying? The person that liked your picture might not even like you. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
They'll be like, hey,
I know
look
a
at
lot of
this
times
dude.
dudes be liking pictures where you see girl in a picture with her dude, and half the dudes that like the picture already smashed the girl. That's why they like the picture. You know what I'm saying? They not liking the picture because y'all in a relationship. They like the picture because hey, we all smash, bro. You know what I'm saying? So we just gonna like it. Good for you, bro. You know what I'm saying? But this is what social media does, bro. It brings out the good and the worst in people.
I did just want to touch on
Mm.
like when you were talking about earlier, the kids nowadays, you know, all they do is glorifying video games or
Mm-hmm.
they're on the social media kick and stuff. Like when we was kids growing up, we was outside, like our parents kicked us out. We was out in the neighborhood. It'd be like 14, 15, 16 kids deep running around playing any bounce baseball, hide and go seek, manhunt, might get into a fight, and then next thing you know, we ready and playing all again in the same hour.
Yeah.
We got a whole bike trail, like 15 people on a bikes going around. You came out late, don't know where everybody at. You riding your bike around. Oh, there go all the bikes. You go over their house, lunchtime, kicking it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like it's a total different atmosphere for people or our children to grow up in nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm still keeping it
Well,
back then, man.
I mean, eventually, everybody grows up, right? You know, and that's inevitable, right? Everybody's gonna get to that point where the friends that you had when at childhood are not gonna be necessarily the same people that you're hanging out with all the time as an adult. You know, people have children, people get married. You know what I'm saying? People fall out for whatever reason over the years or philosophical differences. That's what I like to call them, right? Because that's what it is. When you fall out with somebody, you're having philosophical differences. Their particular viewpoint and belief system and way of doing things are contradictory to yours, right? So it's a natural a clash of heads. You know what I'm saying? So you grow apart from people. You know what I'm saying? It's all different types. You know, but it's a situation here where social media got a lot to do with this because a lot of people are trying to support the character that they created for themselves. You know what I'm saying? You got a lot of people that, again, they do a lot of things outside of your knowledge, your experience with them. They, they got jobs. For the people that they might not want people at their jobs to know that they get down a certain way, right? So on social media, they have to portray a certain image, right? And they probably don't want those kind of. I don't want people to know that I do this or I do that, right? Um, we all do it. We all did it at one point, right? Until we make the conscious decision to be like, man, this is what it is. And if you don't like it, you know what I'm saying?
And you got kids with ADHD and
Mm-hmm.
and the first thing they want to do is prescribe drugs to them.
Mm-hmm.
But the kids are not doing kid stuff. Like, I'm not jumping on the bed at home. That's burning off all that extra energy. I'm not busting backflips and doing stuff on the bed and running around the house and like, cause we get told not to do those things.
So we get into this. We get into this really sensitive topic about how to discipline our children, right? Um, when I was out of pocket, my mom slapped me upside the head. She didn't
Okay.
hesitate. Sit your ass down.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I sat my ass down. My sister, my brother, they was out of pocket. It was just, you know what I'm saying? Sit down. And, she was very convincing when she did it. And we already knew when we went to somebody's house, there was certain things that we weren't going to do or we're going to get slapped upside our head.
Right.
But what happened is that the parents got taken out of the home now. You understand? The parents are working more hours now. The parents are working 50 hours a week, right? Even the mothers are working longer hours now. They're not home with the kids anymore, right? Because we have a lot of professional mothers now. Well, that puts them in the hands of the daycare centers and the school systems. Well, the school systems, they do everything by the book, right? They don't slap the kids outside of their head when they're not allowed to, right? That's on the parents' responsibility. But what they do is they do a lot of these psychological things with the kids. They put them in the corner, right? They put them in the corner, or they isolate them, right? And they go through these. So now the kids are learning a different form of discipline that is not necessarily good for them, okay? Because what it does is creating this feeling of isolation that you're gonna get outcast by society if you don't follow the rules. That's the social engineering that's going on. If you don't play by our rules, we're gonna outcast you, and you're gonna be separated from society.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And that might be worse than an ass whooping, because the ass whooping heals.
Right.
Right. After a few minutes, you you cry a little bit. You hurt. You hold your little butt, and then you get over it. Right.
Yeah.
But not having a peer group, right?
Outcasted.
Not having your peer structure around you is more demoralizing. So that's why you got a lot of kids that be like in the 4th, 5th grade depressed.
Right.
Like, why you depressed in the 4th, 5th grade? Your life haven't even started yet in the 4th and 5th grade. You just learning about the world, and you already depressed, right? Because we've taken the power out of the parents, and it's went to the education system.
I want to say one more thing.
Mm.
It's still on the topic, but I see old school, and I remember, calling home on collect, right, and hurry up and saying like, I'm going to the park. And then, like, Mom Dukes would pick up the phone. She'll be like, no, decline, or yes, and then hang up. That means, like, or you just to get that message. We didn't have cell phones then. We had to take that 15-minute ride back to the house. Hey, can I do this? No. Or
It was just more of it was a feeling of a camaraderie. You know what I'm saying? That was like the best feeling coming home from school, right? And knowing that everybody's about to link up and go to Clark Rec or do whatever, like go knock on everybody's door. Come on, man, we about to go. We need a squad. We trying to, it was that camaraderie. But now it's not like that, right? Now is when you see your friend, you hit like and you scroll to the next person. Like and you scroll to the next person. Like, you scroll to the next person. And very rarely is there any type of interaction? Is there any type of anything with anybody anymore? You know what I'm saying? Like, most of the people that I see nowadays, I don't even see them in person. That's why I always have an open door policy. Like, at my house, I always, man, come visit me, man. You know what I'm saying? Or I'll come visit you or whatever. But I'm not about to sit here and talk to you on the phone or on the internet all day. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't really know how you feel about what you're saying through the internet. You understand?
You can't gauge emotion.
I can't gauge emotion. I can't gauge the tone of what you're saying. If you being sarcastic, if you being funny, I can't gauge that through text messages and typing. You know what I'm saying? So, let's see what else we got in the chat. Yeah, Alex mentioned that kids don't get home cooked meals, and that's by design. You know what I'm saying? They want kids eating these fast foods. They want kids having diabetes in their 20s. They want kids out of shape. You know what I'm saying? Because out of shape kids don't go outside, right? So naturally, if your kid is in the house eating all day, right, he ain't gonna want to go outside, right? You know, kids can be cruel, right? I was a chubby kid. You know what I'm saying? I was outside though. What were you? We playing football, right? We had it. That's what the chubby kids did. We gonna go play football. We gonna use this weight and we gonna throw our weight around. That's what we gonna do. Or we gonna go boxing, or we gonna go do whatever. We gonna go get into a fight. We gonna do something though with this weight. We're not gonna sit in the house and get fatter, right? But that's not what they want now. They want the kids, you know, because um this all ties into mental health too, right? People that don't feel good about themselves physically naturally are gonna be in natural states of mental health. They're gonna have mental health where they're not happy with themselves, states of depression, and the thing goes hand in hand, right? When you look good, you feel good, you think good, right? Um, it doesn't have to always be like that. I know a lot of people that I'm not necessarily in shape, but I got the utter confidence in myself because I'm confident in my intellectual ability. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I don't really work out or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? Because for me, I work this out up here. But there's a benefit to that. You know, people that feel good, right? People that are in physical shape, naturally they're gonna have a better way of interacting with the outside world. You know, people are naturally gonna be attracted to them. So their life is gonna be a lot more what's the term I want to use here? Gratifying, right? Um,
I have Society's Rival join the chat live.
okay. Are they on the mic?
They might be getting their mic together, but they're definitely in the room listening. So,
All right. Scroll the chat up for me over here so I can see what else, because there's a lot of comments on here and I can't really see everything. So video games. Video games is a big thing with all of us. I still play video games. A lot of us. I'm in a video game studio right now, as a matter of fact.
and now you know I play some games here and there. So
Yeah, so video games are a very big thing. So again, this is on us, the individual parent, right? For those of us that have kids, to teach our kids discernment, to know what's real and what's not real. You know, my son plays all the games that I play, but he has a very good understanding of what's real and what's not real. You know what I'm saying? Um, I have real guns, right? My kids know about these real guns. They know how to load these real guns. They know how to shoot these real guns. That's why they don't touch guns, because they. Now I'm not advising this for everybody. Everybody's opinion about guns might be different, but my kids know not to touch my gun. Why? Because I taught them what guns do, right? I educated them on, hey, if you touch this the wrong way, you could die or you could kill somebody. So they know not to touch them. You know what I'm saying? So a video game is not going to influence them to go pick up a gun, right? Because they already know what guns do and they know that this is just entertainment. But everybody's children are not the same, you know? So this is, again, this goes to the individual parent. You know what your kid could do and what your kid can't do. And I will never tell somebody else how to raise their kid. I raise my kid my way, and people raise their kids their way. There is a standard though that we need to follow as far as uh education and teaching them as far as right and wrong. There is a standard of right and wrong, and as long as you adhering to that standard of right or wrong, then to each his own. See what else we got.
Yo, what's going on, Society Rivals?
What's good? This is Alex.
What's up, Alex?
What's up, Al?
Chilling, man. You're making a lot of good points, man. A lot of good fucking points, bro.
Hey, the microphone's all yours, bro. Go ahead and cook.
Yeah, it's just like you said, touching on the video games. You know, a lot of us grew up with the video games.
Mm-hmm.
And the video games that we grew up with were, fucking breaking blocks with our head and shit like that. We didn't have that shooting shit back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, when we're playing that and we're playing around our kids, we allow our kids to play that, we're there. So, we can let them know what's the real and what's not the real. Like, you're not going to do this shit unless, you're in this type of world. However, a lot of kids out here, their parents just give them the video games and then they bounce. So they don't have that parent to differentiate what's real and what's wrong. That's how you get these school shootings and shit like that popping up. I mean, I'm not going to blame it on the video games. I'm
Mm,
just saying there's nobody around to discern whether that shit can actually go down or not. You know, a lot of these kids they play that Fortnite shit and it's more cartoony, but a lot of the
mm,
kids play Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto, and that shit is
mm,
more realistic. However, if you are a parent and you are parenting to the highest standard, in my opinion, you shouldn't have to worry about what your kids watch or what your kids do because they know from their parents, what the bottom line is. You don't do that shit out in the streets. You know what I mean?
exactly. And like I was touching on last week with the music, music is just as much of an influence on the kids, just like the video games, and it may be more of an influencer, right? Because it's real humans here. It's not a digital character on a screen that's influencing the kids. It's actual people that they can see, right?
Oh yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
they see the jewelry, they see the cars, right? And they see the
Hmm.
money in the videos, and they start to they get into this mindset that if I do the behavior that I see on the television, that my life will be like that. So I
Right.
think
I
those
think.
things are more of an influence on the children than even the video games. Because I think
Oh
even
yeah.
you know, most kids got an understanding that video games are not real.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's very rare that you see a kid be like, "Oh, well, I wanted to go do Grand Theft Auto in real life." But I think music, more than anything, is the primary influence on these kids and the things that they watch on TV. A lot of these TV shows that they watch are just garbage. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah.
Like they got TV shows about kids in their teens committing suicide. So
Yeah.
what does that do to these kids that are in the states of depression? Right? It's the little push that they need to go carry out the process. What you
Yeah.
feel
So
about music and its influence on the kids?
I think it's glorified in the wrong way. Like when that 16 and pregnant shit came out,
Hmm.
they thought about, okay, well, we could show these kids the hardships of it, but they didn't think about the other kids that, oh, if I get pregnant, I could probably get on fucking TV. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? And back to the music shit. Like I don't know, I can't speak for everybody else, but when I was growing up, when I was listening to music, the clothing, the speak, that's what influenced me to be who I was. Nowadays, you got these fucking kids dyeing their hair blonde and all kind of crazy ass colors. Like they're doing too much trying to be the person that they see instead of just being somewhat influenced by it. And now they just want to be that person. It's no more about let me take pieces and and make my persona out of this. It's like no, I'm gonna be Wiz Khalifa. I'm gonna be Blueface or whatever these stupid ass names are. And you know what I'm saying? It's like it's taken over more so than it was back when we were growing up. Because everybody wanted to be cool. Everybody wanted to be Scarface back in the '80s. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But we don't want to fucking die like you know. Now it's like these kids. I don't give a fuck. I'm rolling with who I'm rolling with, and this and that. Don't take into consideration that the motherfuckers that you rolling with are less than the niggas that they rolling with or whatever. They probably gonna end up in the hospital or something. It's like you got to take into consideration what y'all doing with your youth and the kids that are around you. The parents should be more of an influence than any type of TV screen, tablet, phone, what have you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hey, yeah, that's
So
100 right there.
I wanted to comment on one of these talking points that my friend D mentioned. A lot of us that had kids at young ages, right? And a lot of people that are having kids at young ages that haven't grown up and reached that level of maturity themselves to objectively tell their kid what is right and wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I am a child of a teen parent, and uh, my mom was in her 20s when I was 6 years old already, right? And my mom's just getting into her 20s. She's just getting to that age where she could legally buy a drink and stuff, right? So she's
Mm-hmm.
already raising a child, right, in school age, and she's in the process of still learning to become a woman herself. And there's a lot of women that are going through this, right, and a lot of men too, because a lot of men are right there having the kids along with them, right?
Oh yeah.
And so, what is that doing, right? When we have children having children, what is that creating, right? It's creating an imbalance first and foremost, right? Because now
Exactly.
we have a child raising another child,
Mm-hmm.
right?
That's
There's
a different
no
set of maturity.
adult guidance there at all. Now the adult guidance got to go to our grandparents, right? Who already
Mm-hmm.
probably lived
Mm-hmm.
their lives, but you got
Yep.
to understand that grandparents grew up in a different generation. So
Yep.
their way of raising is going to be completely different from the new generation of raising. And that was always the disconnect that I had with my grandparents and stuff. They want you to work a job at 14 in a factory for 50 years and retire. You know what I'm saying? If it was up to them. You know what I'm saying? My mom's philosophy was completely different. You know, it was, go out there, get an education, and be somebody. Now, my philosophy is completely different from both of them. You know what I'm saying? Is go out there and build your own empire and don't work for nobody. That's my philosophy. So you see three different generations of philosophy manifesting, right? But so I want to open up the chat. I'm gonna open up the chat back up, but I want y'all to what's y'all opinion about this this idea of children raising children. And we talked about this last week on the one episode I did with Selena, Family Ties, where we talked about, about being friends with our kids. You know, it's more important to be a parent than to be your child's best friend, you know?
I have Mask Bandit also just joined. Society Rivals, I appreciate you joining in on the chat. Let's see if we can get Mask Bandit on. Mask Bandit, are you there?
Technical difficulties.
Well, Mask Bandit is in the chat room. If you just speak up whenever you get your mic working. But continuing on with that question, that is excellent. Let's go to the chat.
See what other questions we got in here. We have Spenzo mentioned something about YouTube being evil. So this is the thing about YouTube. YouTube is a video sharing platform, right? And you can find a lot of good information on YouTube. You can find a lot of bullshit on YouTube. Everything requires discernment, right? Um, Eventually, the thing with YouTube is that they monitor the content, right, based on the level of interaction that it has with people. So videos that get a lot of shares get pushed to the forefront, or a lot of clicks. They push those videos to the forefront. And they also use what was called the hashtagging concept, where certain words, if you tag in certain words, right, and those words are red flagged, then they push those videos into a hidden area, or they push it to and the Google does the same things, right? Like anytime you type in any type of conspiracy theory topic, it's not going to be on the first or second page of Google. It's going to be on the back page of Google. They're going to refer you to the mainstream articles first, right? Because those mainstream articles are the articles that they want to use to support the narrative of whatever story that they want to put out.
Now, I also want to add is that it's not necessarily YouTube being evil. It's that the internet it's a gift and a curse. Like I can consciously choose to go search for something that's no good for my mental health, or I can go and consciously search for something that will benefit me. So it's like devil's advocate almost. I could go in there and go look at porn until my eyeballs is red. I can go in here and read about aerospace technology and try to learn something. And every time I go home, I always say that to my kids. I'm like, I see them doing something. I say, well, what did you learn today? What did you look up today? Tell me something about what you're doing. If they had those tablets in your face all day, you better come tell me some information that I don't even know about yet. And that's what I try to do. And that's how I explained it.
So one of a fundamental truth that by the time I'm done with this podcast that we're gonna know is that everything in this world has a good and bad aspect of it, right? This is the very fundamental lesson that you learn in the allegory of the story of Adam and Eve, right? Is this concept of polarity and duality that exists naturally in the world, right? The Bible, I can use it for good, right? I can use it to set up a moral foundation for myself that's going to lead me to everlasting gratification, or I could use it to enslave people, right?
Mass Bandit is back. That's Johnny. I see
Okay.
his mic popping, so that means he could say something. What's up, John?
You can hear me, Johnny? I don't know if he can hear me.
I did
Maybe
see
he can
his.
hear me, but I don't know if he's muted or not.
Yeah, I did see his microphone turn green, but then all right. This is his second time joining the room. He got his profile pic up on there now.
Yeah, we'll get him in here eventually. Just if he chimes in, let me know because I got the volume turned down
Yeah, I'm
so I
listening.
don't get the echo. But one of the things that we're gonna learn is that a lot of things in this world could be used for good and evil. Everything involves in the intention of the human wielding the tool. You know what I'm saying? I could use a pen to write a love letter, or I could use it to write a letter of hate. and everything that determines that is going to be what comes out of my heart when I'm writing the letter. And this is something that we need to understand as people. You know, we tend to externalize what good and evil is. Good and evil is something that's in our hearts, right? And then our intention is juxtaposed upon on whatever methods that we use. You know what I'm saying? Um, what is good and evil, right? Because I don't know if a lot of people can objectively define what is good and evil. I have a standard of good and evil, but a lot of people don't. You know what I'm saying? And this is because we talked about this on the episode about morals, that they're steering us to a world of moral relativity where good and evil is not clearly defined. You know what I'm saying? I have an upcoming show that I'm going to be talking about the history of child pedophilia and the psychology behind that. And I define child pedophilia as objectively evil. There's no scientific explanation, no medical explanation that you're going to give me that's going to waver me from that position. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
So this is the problem in the modern world, though, because there's a lot of people in the professional world that would accept some type of medical explanation for it, or some type of um backdoor. You know, it's evil, and that's the standard of evil. You know what I'm saying? Murder is one of those things. Uh, if you feel that murder is objectively evil, then how do you feel about war? How do you feel about sending your kids off to war? Right? Because if you feel that murder is objectively evil, then you have to take into account all the innocent people that have been murdered through every war that we've had through human existence, right? Everybody that dies in a war is not a soldier. As a matter of fact, if you look at the statistics for every major war, the majority of people that die are the civilians and not the soldiers, right? So how do you feel about war, right? A lot of us support war, right? When we're bombing a country that we feel did something to us, we support it. You know, for 9/11, there was not too many people that were saying don't bomb Iraq.
I had no idea what was going on.
And they had no idea that Iraq had nothing to do with 9/11, nor did Afghanistan, right?
Nothing at all.
The people that they did say were responsible, not a single bomb was dropped on Saudi Arabia. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because Saudi Arabia does big business with America in the oil
That's where the money is.
department, right? So they
That's
wasn't
where
gonna
the money.
bomb the people that they do business with, but their job was to convince you that Iraq needed to get bombed. So this is the thing, man. If we believe in the problem is that we find ourselves believing a lot of lies, and we form our reality based on these lies that we chose to believe. We do this in our professional life, right? We do this in our relationships, right? Most of our relationships, the people that have been in a bad relationship before, you know, it was founded on a lie, right? And instead of just understanding and seeing the red flag that it was a lie, you allowed yourself to get draped into it deeper and deeper and longer, right? Until you just had enough and realized I don't want to live this lie no more. I'm ready to move on, right? I've been there. We all been there at some point. When you get into that area in your life where you not living a lie about who you are as a person, what it is that you want out of this world as a person, who do you want around you as a person, you get a lot more of what you're looking for in life without even having to chase it. Okay? I don't use the word chase. I don't chase anything, right? Because chase is implying that whatever it is that I'm going after is trying not to be caught, is not trying to be subdued, right? I'm not chasing that. I'm creating an environment where things are going to come naturally.
Hmm.
And this is something that we need to learn as individuals. All right, so we got about 5-10 minutes left in the chat. So if there's any more questions, type them up now. Right. So
I
Spenzo was
see. Yeah, I
talking
was
about
just.
the videos, and I agree. I think a
Yep.
lot of these kids produce a lot of garbage content, and
Yes.
again, the responsibility of that falls on the parents, right? Um,
Yep.
I was to walk in the room and catch my daughter doing something that was like sexually provocative, I might slap her upside her head. You know what I'm saying? It's my job as the parent to nip that in the butt before it gets out of control.
Yep.
It's also my job as a parent to educate myself that these things even exist. A lot of parents don't know. Excuse me. A lot of parents don't know that things like TikTok and these Snapchats and things like this are even being used in this capacity, right? Because they're so busy focusing on paying the bills and, and being a parent that they don't have time to micromanage, their kids' lives. A lot of us remember being kids and we didn't like our moms in our business, right? So subconsciously we're like, we want to give our kids that privacy, right? Because we didn't like it when we were kids, when our parents was in our business. Little did we know that by our parents being in our business, it led us away from making those mistakes, right?
Mhm.
So maybe, be a little bit more involved in what, you know, your kids really don't need a cell phone until they get to a certain age, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Um, you know, it should be your job to have the conversation with your kids about sex. Not it's not Pornhub's responsibility, right? It's not the internet's responsibility. It's not their favorite rapper's responsibility. It should be your responsibility as an adult to educate, to give your kids what is sexual education, what is correct, right? To teach them about love, teach them about morals, teach them about foundation, right? Teach them about people lying, right? Teach them about all of that. You know what I'm saying? If you a man and you got a daughter, there should be no reason why there's men running game on your daughter. Because you a
Nope.
man. You know how the game goes, right?
Yep.
So your daughter is supposed to know everything that you know as a man. So when she grows up and she becomes a woman, any man can't just say anything to her. Right? If you a woman and you raising a son to be a man, right? You should your son should know all these things that the games that our women are gonna play because you're a mother and you're a woman, and at some point you probably played them games, right? So educate your son so he knows what to look for, and it's really about us, man. It's really about us, the individuals. A lot of these things, these problems that we have, are on us because we choose to ignore this. You know what I'm saying?
Self-inflicted.
Um, I got a lot of very heavy hitting controversial topics coming up, and that's part of the reason why I didn't start a new topic today because I've been focusing all my energy researching for those topics. But we're really gonna get into a lot of a lot of deep topics because these are things that need to be talked about. So, I want y'all to bear with me here. You know what I'm saying? We're really gonna get a little bit deeper and deeper and deeper. And yeah, like D say, ain't no sugar coating. You know what I'm saying? Only thing I like sugar on is my cornflakes. I'm definitely not gonna put it on when I give you my perception of the truth and my experience. What is truth? We're gonna talk about child sexual abuse. A lot of y'all got child molesters in your family and don't want to address it. We're gonna address it for you. You know what I'm saying? Um, we're gonna give you the necessary the outlet and the necessary platform to get rid of the monsters that you have in your families, right? Because we can't save the world. We can't save. Only world we could fix is our world, right? We want to save the kids and we want to save the children. So let's start with the ones in our families first. Let's do that, right? With that being said, I want to thank
Oh,
everybody that
I got Mass Bandit back. He about to unmute and see if he can say something.
Okay, let's see if we could get him in so he could. Can you hear me?
Yo, yo, yo.
Oh,
Hey.
we got you.
All right, cool, man. I was trying to figure this out, but finally I got it all on there.
Go ahead, do your thing. The mic is all yours.
Yeah, so in to say today's society, right? And I just want to go back to what you were talking about as far as the children and when we're kind of like subjected to what we're taught, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just like let's say for example, when a man's looking for a woman or is seeking a woman, he kind of sees her in a way of a sense of that motherly love that he's looking for the woman in the form of somewhat in the form of what his mom is,
Right.
And same thing with with the daughter. You got a daughter's gonna look for someone that is particularly like her father. That's her first love. That's basically what she's looking for. So you want to be able to go ahead and project that onto depending on what kind of parent you are. But and then just touching base on people that are also as well trying to maintain an image and all that other stuff. And I've actually been subjected to that myself. I mean, I've been out in the Cleveland market doing different things and doing and I learned that as I grow up, and it's exactly true what you said. You grow up and you're like, okay, these things ain't really for me. There's a whole totally different dynamic to it. It really doesn't matter what people say. And just what you said earlier too as well, with the likes, people just don't like it. They just hit the like button just because, and it's either whether that becomes behind hate, or it's just, same thing, like, hey, I smashed that chick. So it's just this really touched a lot of light today. So I mean, the only thing it is, world can only get better.
Absolutely, and it's gonna get better because all of us, gonna take the individual responsibility upon ourselves to make it better. I mean, it's already. I mean, my perception of 2020 has been completely different from a lot of people's perception of 2020. For me, it was a year of validation. Right, 2020 has always been something that's affiliated with clear vision. So for me, I already knew it was gonna be a lit year for me because my vision is clear. You know what I'm saying? And I've been trying to, what I do is I share information. I'm not here to convince anybody of anything, right? Because I'm not here to educate adults, right? I'm here to share information based on what I experienced and what I've researched over the years. But ultimately, is to lead us into a higher level of operating as individuals, right? I know for a lot of people, life becomes really mundane when you're 38, 39, 40 years old, right? That's the age group that I'm in. And I go to talk to people and have a conversation, and they talking to me about shit that I talked about in high school. And I'm like, bro, you know what I'm saying? I done moved past this. And you still talking to me about this. I done moved past this 18 years ago. So like it's hard for me to take people seriously because I mean, if that's where their mind is at, right, then their life that they're living is gonna reflect that level of juvenile thinking. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not in that process anymore. And that doesn't make me better than you, right? It just puts me in a situation where we just not on the same wavelength. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And I'm trying to just, get the wavelength up. You know what I mean? This is because I have these conversations at my house. Like the same way I'm talking on the podcast is the same way when you come to my house for whatever reason is how I'm gonna talk. I don't know how to talk about mundane things anymore. I don't know how to do that anymore. I'm practicing. I'm trying to learn how to be more of a casual individual and talk about nothing. But I don't know how to talk about nothing no more because time is valuable. And every moment and every second that I waste, everything that I say has to mean something, or it's just a waste of time. You know what I'm saying? So like, that's what this whole podcast is about. You know what I'm saying? It's about getting us having the right conversations and talking about things that matter instead of talking about things that don't matter. All right. So with that being said, I want to thank everybody that contributed today. This is episode what, 15, right? We on 15,
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Wow, I knocked out
14.
15 episodes. That went so fast.
14.
So it's like, again, Cash App's there. Anybody that would like to contribute and donate to the show, donations are always welcome. They're not an obligation though, and I'm not gonna feel any type of way if you don't send any money. It's just an option. Um, I do have production costs, and I try to make sure that I take care of everybody that take care of me. So, every little dollar helps. Even if you don't want to donate personally, I would like at the very least to share and subscribe and just spread the word. With that being said, everybody enjoy y'all football games today. I just want to emphasize that sports ain't real, so I don't want y'all to thinking that I'm cutting it short because I love sports more than I love truth. Because I'm gonna do a show about how sports is scripted, but maybe I ain't gonna do it today. I'm gonna let y'all enjoy the games, and maybe I'll do it after the Lakers win the championship. But with that being said, thank y'all for coming out and support. I'm truly humbled every time. Every one of y'all that come and watch the show is a humbling experience, and I thank y'all from the bottom of my heart, and I'm truly grateful for it. With that being said, I'll see y'all Thursday. Thank you.